Hi friends, it's 3rd of May 2025 around 2:20 p.m. So today I just want to give you a walkthrough of my entire indicators bundle, right? So as you can see, I have a suite of indicators from technical indicators that you can use on any time frame, right? Whether you are a scalper on the 1 to 3 minute time frame, whether you're a day trader, right, on the 5 to 15 minute time frame, or a swing trader, right, on the 15 minute or higher time frame. I have an indicator that will probably suit your needs, right? So let me quickly take you through all of the indicators that I have, right? Now, RSI with WM and SMO overlay is basically my custom RSI settings. I've sort of coded it. I feel that it gives me better signals, and I also, identify the divergences, which is typically good to capture your tops and bottoms, right? Especially on a higher time frame, right? So don't use the divergences on a lower time frame. My sense is you should use it ideally on the daily or the hourly time frame. It works best. On the lower time frame, you can use these settings to get a double confirmation, right? In terms of your oversold and overbought conditions. And you can use this with other technical indicators to confirm your entries and exits, right? So this MIS or the multi-indicator combo is basically a combination of multiple indicators like your central pivot range, your super trend, your Bollinger Band, VWAP, as well as the Donchian channels. So I use this combo to sort of, identify the state of the market, identify, whether it is trending, right? It also colors the candles, green or red or orange, based on whether it is bullish, bearish, or in between, right? One of the advantage of this indicator is that it allows you to stay in the trend for as long as you can, right? On a 15-minute time frame, you can probably stay for days, right? As long as the trend is intact, right? There is a specific nuance that I teach to my students on how to use this indicator in terms of avoiding fake signals and so on, right? So if you are interested, you can always get in touch with me. Catch the trend is, another variation, of, you can say, technical indicator, right? It uses a combo of, again, CPR and multiple super trends, right? So between this and this, you can choose anyone. I think they are both equally good, and they have their own strengths, right? So this one will probably, help you ride the trend for even longer, right? But I think, that is something that you need to really test and figure out which one is more ideal, right, for your stock and for your time frame. The narrow range pattern is basically, it identifies candles which are NR4, NR7, or inside bars, right? So typically, when you get, I've studied that when, the candles start forming these inside bars or, narrow range candles, especially at the top and the bottom of a move, you can expect a strong reversal to come, right? Or a strong up move. So I usually, use this as to sort of capture the volatility and the move that emerges, right? After those narrow candles are formed, because market actually has two states, right? There is a narrow state and the wide state, right? So I usually initiate all my trades on all time frames when the state is narrow. If you do that, you are going to get high probability trades, and your risk to reward ratio is going to be very, very high, right? Because your stop losses, everything will be very, very small when the stock is in a narrow state, right? And when it will expand from the narrow state, you will get multiples of your risk unit, right? I mean, 1:3 is very common. 1:5, sometimes 1:10, 12 also is not very uncommon, especially on a lower time frame, right? Um, Anniversary indicators is a very, important indicator for my investments. So I manage all my family's wealth just using this indicator, right? I can guarantee that, if you learn how simple this strategy is, right, you will be able to even beat a mutual fund manager, a professional mutual fund manager, right, with a very simple strategy. So this I predominantly use whatever money I earn from my day trading and swing trading. I pump it into, my investments. I select, let's say, 5 to 10 stocks and equally divide my investments. And this I do on an annual basis, right? This is not something that you have to do on a daily or even a monthly basis. Just once in a year, based on the anniversary date, either of the anniversary date of the stock or your own anniversary date. You can choose whichever is comfortable for you. You can do that, right? Um, the volatility range calculator is again, sort of, takes the last month's closing price and uses India VIX, which is an indicator of volatility, to compute what would be the range of movement, meaning which are effectively acts as supports and resistance and the pivots, right, for the next month, right? If you study, Nifty reversed exactly from one of these pivots, right? In on that April 7th bottom, exactly aligned with one of the pivots, and then Nifty reversed. So this sort of helps option sellers and even option buyers to some extent, because option sellers, wants to sell their strangles and eat the premiums, right? Especially when these ranges are very wide, that is a month for option sellers, right? Because what they will simply do is, sell the high and, sell the strangle above those ranges, and they will simply eat the premium, right? So this is how big players earn, what they call 3 to 5% income, right? On a big capital, right? So that is the strategy. Or if you're on a small capital, you can even use this to initiate your longs or shorts on the options, right? So this is specifically very useful for option players. Confirmed breakout. So this is, sort of an indicator that helps you avoid fake outs to a lot of extent. As we know, most breakouts fail, right? So if you don't want to get caught in those bull traps or bear traps, this indicator is going to give you confirmed levels. Once you mark the high and low, right, of a prior high and low, it will tell you what is the right levels, that will confirm the breakout or breakdown, right? And then not just that, it will also tell you what is your target 1, target 2, target 3, and so on, and your stop loss levels. So all of that, mathematically computed and printed on your chart, so that you don't have to do a lot of thinking, right? And you can use these levels to comfortably ride the trend. So this is specifically meant for people who love to trade breakouts, right? And know, where is that breakout going to be confirmed, right? So you can use this in combination with other indicators to confirm your breakouts. So Gann master square is again, for those of you who are familiar, right? Like the Gann master square of 12, master square of 144, etc., right? So this sort of helps you design those squares, right, on your chart. So this is for my advanced Gann students who are part of my advanced curriculum. Again, natural dates, support and resistance. This is based on the sun cycle. So what this indicator does is it sort of divides the year according to the sun cycle. So there are 4 major seasons, as we know, right? And that is also based on the sun cycle. So we have, the spring, which is the starting season, right? Then we have summer. Then we have autumn, followed by winter, right? And each season is roughly around 90 days, 90 to 92 days, if you think. And half of the season is around 45, 46 days. So it takes each of those half seasons. So there are about 8 half seasons, right, in a year. It sort of measures the volatility of each season in terms of the high and the low range, because Gann always used to measure a stock in terms of this movement, which is the high and the low, right? And then if you compute the average range, right, of that entire year, so that sort of gives you as to how much the stock is expected to move, right? It is like kind of that volatility calculator, but using Gann principles, right? And then I sort of use this volatility to design, what are the ideal levels for the current cycle. And, trust me, I mean, if you just use this one indicator for your swing trading, making money will be like a piece of cake, right? Because these are all levels that are scientifically designed, and this is based on the core Gann principles. And hence, your ability to go wrong is very, very minimal, right? Especially with when I explain the setup to you, you'll be amazed as to how simple and effective the strategy is. Not just that, this indicator also is backtest friendly, meaning that, I always advise my students or anybody who takes my indicator to go and do their own backtest, right? Now, imagine there is so much complicated calculations, right? It is very difficult to do the backtesting. I know that you will never complete it. And hence, keeping that in mind, I have designed the indicator in such a way that it makes the backtesting like real breeze, right? So you will just have to, drag and drop a line and drop it in the period that you want to backtest, and it will automatically draw the levels for that specific period, right? And then you can backtest and note down, what kind of trades would have generated based on the rules that I teach, and you can note down the numbers, right? So this is very, very effective. This is also beginner friendly. You don't really have to learn complex Gann subjects to make money. If there is one indicator that I would recommend, right, that sort of embeds the core Gann principles, then this is the one, right? If you're interested, please do reach out to me. You will find my WhatsApp group and my number in the description. So please do reach out to me. Gann Pancholi levels is, again, for advanced day traders. This is sort of based on Andrew Pancholi's system, who built on the Gann system again, right? And he sort of modified it for specifically for day traders. Now, this system, this setup has not given a single negative month of return on Nifty for the last 20 years. Just imagine that, not a single negative month in the last 20 years. It is that powerful, right? So this is a phenomenal strategy, especially for those very active day traders. It again uses, the previous day's high and low for the calculations, but it is slightly nuanced in terms of the rules. And I explain that to, again, my advanced Gann students, right? Gann time cycle is basically, like we know that various planets have various harmonics, right? So if you want to study the Jupiter cycle, the Venus cycle, the Mercury cycle, and so on, right? And you want to find high probable turning dates, right? Using these multiple cycles on multiple time frames, this indicator sort of helps you quickly do that analysis, because, it is very easy to plot these time cycles with my indicator, right? Key pivot levels is just a quick analysis tool. It plots all higher time frame pivots starting from yearly, quarterly, monthly, weekly, and daily. I kind of use this as an analytical tool. Don't use it much for trading, right? So this is a free gift I give to anyways who all my advanced students. So if you can check it out, but not I don't use this actively because I have other tools and there is only so much I can use, right, on a day-to-day basis. So this is based on the concept of Gann pressure date. So I mark based on the sun cycle. I mark all the important pressure dates. And then there are certain technical conditions, like, there has to be a good technical gap up and gap down on those dates. If there is, then this is a super duper strategy for, especially for those, small capital option players, because you can literally get at least 25% return on your capital on every trade, right? I mean, even 50% or 100% is not uncommon, because these dates are typically, meant for reversal. And hence, you are catching the trade at the right moment, and you are able to ride it to either to the end of the day or till you get your profit target, right? So I teach the advanced strategy, again, to my Gann masterclass students. So should you be interested, you can get in touch. Lunar cycles, sort of plays some importance for day traders, because moon is connected to our emotions, right? It controls the emotional state. And market is nothing but, a culmination of the mass psychology in action, right? And hence moon is the only planet. It is also the fastest moving planet, by the way, of all the, actually it's not a planet, but if you consider that as a planet, as per the, the system that we have, it is the fastest moving, right? It completes one revolution around the basically around the sun, right, in about 27 and a half days, right? That is how the lunar cycles are bit. Our tides and everything is controlled by the moon. So if the tides and oceans, everything is controlled by the moon, then can human beings not be controlled by the moon, right? And hence, if you observe certain key dates, right, like the Amavasya, Purnima, the third quarter, first quarter, the Pogi and Perigi dates. And there are other special dates called witching days, right, where you expect high degree of volatility, which is actually required for options traders. So this indicator simply, plots all these dates for you and makes it a little bit easy. But, again, if you are interested, I do these things in my advanced Gann course. and seasonality. So this is another brilliant tool, especially important for stock traders, right? And especially if you're doing options trading in stocks and you want to know what is the right stock, right, to buy at any given time, day, month, year, period, week, etc. Right? So this tool will do the historical analysis for you, and within a fraction of a second, you will know what is the probability of a move, whether bullish or bearish, in that given period that you have chosen, right? Along with all the historical data, right? So you can see in front of your eyes whether you should go with that stock or not. But bear in mind that seasonality, sort of is altered. I think, according to me, astro is the number one condition that rules your stock. So if you can figure out the astro cycle for your particular stock or index, that is always number one. Then, there are the anniversary dates of your stocks. So that is also plays a very important role, right? Um, then we have these monthly pivots and all that, right? So there is a number of nuanced techniques. These are like layers and layers and layers of probabilities. People ask me, can you give me an indicator which is 90% accurate, right? I say no. I mean, no indicator can give you 90% accuracy, right? But if you know how to analyze various signals, right, all the way from astrology to, time cycles to seasonality, and then use your technical indicator based on your analysis, then only you can get to an 80-90% setup, right? That Gann typically was known for, right? But Gann never traded on a intraday time frame, right? Gann always traded on a weekly, monthly, even daily is probably the lowest he would have used, right, in his time. Because at that time, intraday charts did not exist, right? So all these things that we do, Gann studies on intraday, I don't know, this is maybe invention of some other people who followed Gann and extended his knowledge. But if you really want to understand Gann, you have to look at bigger cycles, right? Gann doesn't really work on an intraday thing. If somebody is telling you that, then maybe it's their invention, or at least that is not the original Gann concepts, right? Okay, so that is, so the Gann square of 9 is another, very, basic indicator. I use it all of the time to determine what are the key levels of supports and resistances. I use this, as sort of my moving targets, right? Where I can place my stop losses. I always place my targets and stop losses aligned with my Gann levels. So no matter what technical indicator I'm using, I always place this indicator on my chart. And this combo is even more powerful, right? Because it gives me well-defined, mathematically defined levels, and hence, allows me to maximize my profits, right? Especially on Nifty, so it works brilliantly. Even in any stock and commodity, it works brilliantly, right? Because these are based on ancient mathematical principles, and hence they cannot be wrong, right? So this is one basic indicator. Gann emblem again is again based on the famous Gann's, so basically Gann used to be able to predict, when is the next top or bottom going to be, right? So the way he used that is again mathematics, right? So he used to study, the previous cycles, the tops and the bottoms, and then use certain mathematics to figure out, based on this top and this bottom, what could be the next top and bottom, right? So that is that study coded as an indicator. Whereas, you will need to spend hours or, at least a few minutes to do it. This will do it in a fraction of a second for you, right? And it will do it accurately and all that, so you don't have to worry about all the calculations, right? Again, this is part of my advanced Gann course or advanced Gann bundle, right? Whoever wants to get it. So that's about it. I think there are about 12 to 15, awesome indicators that I have that can make you a complete trader, right? So that's all, friends. I just wanted to give you a quick glimpse into the world of my indicators. You will find, how to contact me in the description of this video. So should you be interested, please feel free to get in touch, and I'll be more than happy to show you a demo or to understand specifically, what help you need, right? And maybe able to recommend the best indicator for your trading needs. With that, that's all for the day, friends. I'll see you later.